This is your first time tuning in, welcome. Glad to have you. This is episode 102. I'm Jay Watson.
And I'm Kathy Castle.
And we've had to do a little bit of a pivot today, like Ross on Friends carrying the sofa up the steps. We had to pivot.
Oh,
So,
does that mean I dropped the sofa?
well, no, our scheduled guest had a personal situation pop up at the last minute, so she's unable to come on with us. So, Kath
Just
and I
like
are going to,
life, we got to pivot.
yep, we got to pivot. So, Kath and I are going to kind of go back to kind of the basics with self care. But we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk. Kath and I are going to talk a little bit about the self care activities that her and I do personally. Um, we're both such advocates for self care. We're going to
Behind the screen.
we're going to share our self care. Not that they're really probably secrets at this point, but we're going to talk about that. I want to apologize in advance. I got a head cold coming on, so I'm chewing on cough drops. I'm probably going to cough a lot, sneeze a lot. So bear with us on this one.
The
We're
best part
really
is I'm not going to catch it if you sneeze on me.
we're winging this one in a lot of ways. So yeah. So the first thing we're going to do, we haven't done this in a long time since it's been a while since it's been just Kath and I. So we're gonna do a little check in and so what's going on with the Castle?
So Castle's moving along. We're still trying to. We see grass now, right? Everybody's seeing grass. That horrible cold stuff is starting to disappear, thankfully. Although how some is still here a month later, I don't know. Some of that ice. But so yeah, doing all the things like that. I feel like we're excessively watching TV and streaming and movies and all the things. And today actually had a little bit of a hard day at work. We had a death of one of our clients, and those in all the years that I have been in mental health, it never really prepares you to deal with something like that, and it's really hard to watch people hurt. And so that was our day today. It was a little bit of a hard day for family, for staff, for other clients, but certainly a day where self-care was very much needed and support was very much appreciated.
Um, what about family wise? Any new exciting? Anybody new getting married in the Castle?
No, I don't think I can handle excitement. I maybe not everybody does this, but you go back in your phone and you look at all the things and you think of all the things that you forgot to do because of all other major things. And I'm like, 2025 was really busy for us. So I'm really hoping that we have a slower 2026. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. A lot of things.
So it's been
What about you? How's business?
it's actually pretty for a February. It's been pretty good. January and February normally traditionally are slow months, and things kind of historically pick up in March. People get their tax money back and start
Oh,
splurging on some things. So, but February's been pretty good actually. Um, yeah, it's actually it's funny. Like it's like I went to bed one night and there was still all this snow around, and I got up over the weekend and it had rained fairly good overnight, and a lot of the smaller piles and the surface snow is gone. The big piles are obviously still around in the parking lots. Anybody from the mid shore of Maryland knows, the 10-foot tall snow piles in the shopping center parking lots are going to be there for a while. But now they're talking about a potential. It seems like every weekend there's a threat of a storm. Like they'll talk
it
about,
does.
yeah, it doesn't snow. It never wants to snow during the week. It's just like on the weekends. So,
I thought that there's always like, oh, there's a little potential of something, and then you're like, it didn't happen.
but
Thankfully, I don't want anything more to happen. And then you look at the 10-day, it's like, okay, we're creeping it back into the 50s, maybe.
yeah, those
I
couple days there that were 50 was like it felt like warmer than that because it like not only was it 50, but there was no wind. It's been windy for
I know.
months. Like it
I
seems
know.
like since September it's been windy, and I don't mind the cold, but when it's windy with the cold, that's ridiculous.
I don't. I feel like for like 3 years we've been windy. Don't you
But
think?
yeah, I get well. This has been about as cold of a winter as I can remember in a long time.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
and it started earlier. It started earlier than
yeah,
you.
I
I
mean,
feel
and
like
we actually got like snow that you could see on the ground in like December. But that's not common for us.
yeah, because December, yeah, you're right. December, you can get away with maybe even not a coat. I think this December was like,
Yeah, it was cold over my Christmas. I remember that Christmas vacation was pretty cold. But yeah. So anyway, like we said, we've had to do a little bit of a shift on our episode topic tonight. So
mm,
we're going to do a self care definition recap, but we're also going to talk about Kath and I are going to talk about what we do personally for our own self care. But I thought we would kind of start just real quick with just talking about what we feel like the definition of self care is. Although I think it's getting better as far as people being aware of the term self care because it's now it's been out there for a while. So most people have at least heard the term, but there are still some folks that are um, have a misconception of what it is, or they're unaware of what the real definition is. Um, but like I've talked about, for me, it's kind of broken into two categories. There's things that build, strengthen, and grow our mind, body, and soul, like going to the gym for exercise for your body, or going to church for your soul, maybe talking to a therapist for your mind. And then there's the other category that I call the mindset shifter category, the fun stuff, our hobbies, things that we enjoy, things that take our mind away from the everyday stresses of life. Going to the movies like Kath and I do, or streaming, um, having dinner with a friend, or going for a walk, out being out in nature. The list is endless. Um, but um, they don't have to always have to be big, huge, time consuming things. It can be, you know, sitting down for 10 minutes of reading, or writing in your journal for a couple minutes, or taking a 10-minute bubble bath, or whatever. They don't have to cost you anything. Um, Self care can kind of be anything that is kind of like it sounds, anything that we're doing to take care of ourselves, to either mind, body, and soul, any or all of the three. Um, yeah. So, kind of what's your kind of definition of self care, Kathy?
well, I mean, I just want to say this too. Okay, self care. And sometimes I hear people that seem annoyed with that term. You and I were talking about that earlier, like, oh, like eye roll, self care. But then we're like, what else are you going to call it? Like you said, we have been used to saying to people, don't forget to take care of yourself. Like something happened, and you look at the person that's just, fighting the fight or keeping it going, and it's like, hey, but don't forget to take care of yourself. So we've kind of shortened it to self care. And what else would you call it? I'm not sure either. But if somebody's annoyed, eye roll, self care. Why are you eye rolling? So, like, I think part of getting to self care is figuring out what it is that's going on in your life that you need a solution to. Self care is a solution. It's a distraction. It's a solution. It's hope. It's help. But you have to put the work in ahead of time too, I believe. So besides, hey, just go take care of yourself, which is a kind thing to say, make sure you look after yourself. I really believe a lot of people don't put the hard work in of thinking about what does that mean for them individually, because we're all different, and what's going on in my life that I need to think about, that I need relief from, if that makes any sense at all. So
Yeah.
I think it's hard to just dive into what that solution kit is.
Well, maybe Kathy, maybe the first step in figuring out what your self care regimen is going to be is self reflection. In other words,
Yes, I
figuring out,
think self-reflection is part of self-care.
yeah,
I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
figuring out what are those things that you enjoy, because it can be as easy as that. That's part of it. But also B, what are the very direct, impactful things, sleeping well, eating right, you know,
Well,
being out in nature, that are also going to do that. And everybody's self care regimen is going to look a little bit different. Some people have this, you and I drink tea, so we share that one. But most of the rest of our and movies. But other than that, we have different things that we do for our self care, and that's kind of the way
yeah.
it's supposed to be.
And I think you have to know yourself. Like, I'll give you an example about me for being very self-disclosey today. Is that a term?
Yeah,
Self-disclosing?
yes.
The Y
It's an
on the end?
official podcast term. Yes.
Um, I'm not some I am somebody, I know this about myself, that does much better if I know things. So, like, for example, if you sent me a text, Jay, and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something." So, I'm gonna and maybe this is the overthinker female side of me, I may overthink that. Well, what do they want? And if it comes from you, I'm probably not gonna overthink it because some days I think I can read your mind and you can read mine, but maybe it's a coworker, or maybe it's one of my kids, or maybe it's my parents. You know, I might our brains like to trick us a bit, and they like to bring in the negative. So just say one of my kids might say, "I want to talk to you about something." Well, then I'm immediately going in the Rolodex in the brain. Oh my gosh, did they get a ticket today? Are they feeling bad? Like I've made up a whole list of scenarios of what it could be. I've made it up and then how I'm going to respond to it. And it could be like, geez, mom, I just wanted to tell you that I was wondering when my taxes are coming back, but maybe this is a female thing. I don't know. Or this is a Kathy thing, but I know for myself, I do better. And I try to do this when I'm texting. Hey, I want to talk to you about um lunch at the staff day tomorrow, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I try to give a little piece because I like a little piece. So
Yeah.
then I'm not torturing myself.
Or at
So
least say, or at least say it's not a big deal. It's not an emergency. You just
yeah,
want to
not
talk.
emergency. So, but whose responsibility is that? Is it me to try to chill that in myself? Or is it, yeah, probably. Or is it also me to communicate that to the people that I am in communication with? Or if they say, I want to talk to you about something, do I write back and say, can you just give me a topic? Throw me a little something. And so I don't plan 10 scenarios.
Yeah.
So I know
Whereas
for
I don't like. I lead with the topic. I hit you in the face with when I see
yeah,
you text.
yeah.
It's like,
Hey,
yeah.
blah, blah. So, I just personally do better, so I don't invent some kind of story that has nothing to do with what the person wanna talk about. I know that about me. So if I have information, I'm gonna do better. And just like, if it's bad information, don't hide it from me. I wanna know. Just tell me right now. Throw it at me, and then I can process it, and then I can handle things better. So I think that's just one example. I'm sure I have 50 million. If you interviewed my husband and kids, they'd probably tell you, "Oh, let me give you the list of things about mom." But that's just one example. Know yourself well enough to know what you need so that I'll give another real example. This week, somebody did that to me. And then I said, "What is this in reference to?" And that person didn't answer me back. So there I went. There I went with my story finding, my fact finding.
You were
So
filling in the blanks ball on
I
your
was
own. Yeah.
filling in the blanks. I was making up a story. So uh I never really got the whole story, but it wasn't anything that I thought in my head, so that was good. But I had to pull in some self-care. Now, if I hadn't have done this podcast every week for 102 times, maybe I wouldn't have been as quick to do this, but I incorporated two things off of my list to help ease my own internal anxiety that I developed because I caused it myself. Was I used some deep breathing, and I did have some hot tea, and I did a streaming show. So I had 3 things that chill it out. But I already know what my, bag of tricks is that I need to go to. I know what's quick. I know what I can grab quick. You and I have spent a lot of time personally thinking, or what are those quick grabs? Some people like to call it low hanging fruit, whatever you want to call it. I know I can make a hot tea pretty darn quick. And if I can't, Starbucks is around the corner. Or it's not hard to find something you like to stream. See, you've addicted me to streaming, Jay. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Um, yeah, so I'm just giving you a real life example. I think
Yeah.
it doesn't matter as much we practice, as wise as we become, we still need to figure out how what makes us tick, what ticks us off, and how to settle ourselves or get to neutral so that we can get to better. Get to neutral so you can get to better.
I think, yes, like I said earlier, I think there are folks that, for whatever reason, are not aware of what self care means. But I also think that, and I actually posted something to this effect the other day, and it was something about get to know yourself deeply,
Mhm.
because you can't. And I've said this before with my own personal past struggles. In order for me to find the healthy path, I had to know what I was addressing. If I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm addressing, I don't know which direction to go. Sure, I can do things that are
Yeah.
distractive. I can watch movies or whatever, and that's fine for that moment in time. But big picture wise, long term, consistency and with intention, if I don't know where my where the holes in my self care void that I need, if I don't know where they are, I can't fill them. I got to know where to address, what to address specifically. Sure, there are kind of our go tos that are just we all should be doing. Again, like I said before, sleep well, eat right. Just are two examples. We all should be doing that. Period. It's just that's just a good self care practice to do. But I think people don't want to address why they need self care. We all should be doing self care
Right, right.
just because it's good for us, regardless
Yeah,
whether we're going through something in our lives or not. Typically, we
right.
are because very seldom are we struggle free. Just the way life is. But if you don't know, and different seasons in our life and different struggles will take different self care activities to kind of help us along as we get older. Just
Mhm.
for or maybe just circumstances in our life change. So then now maybe that thing we were struggling with last year that's been figured out. So now we're no longer having to do meditation that was really good for that specific thing. Now we're moved on to, maybe our finances are kind of out of whack and we're just our minds racing. So we have to do something that's appropriate for that kind of headspace.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
so it should be kind of changing. We should have our core base of our self care go tos, but depending on the season of life,
And
it might
worries
need
are
to
not
be.
equal, right? Like
Yeah,
you just said, somebody might have a financial worry right now as they're listening to us, like one that at 2 in the morning seems to pop in your head about how devastating, how much you owe for taxes, or how are you going to pay for the whatever roof repair. It hits you at these wild times when you can't sleep, and then it's just a snowball effect. But maybe it's finances for this person, maybe for that person, it's
grief.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's grief. There's a lot of deep-rooted grief. Rather, it's we can go on for days about different grief.
So Kathy, so you were saying a little while ago about the situation where you were trying to figure out a text conversation, so you had to
Mhm.
kind of do some things specific to that. But what are your kind of regular self care go tos that you go to fairly regularly? That just they're kind of your go tos regardless of what's going on in your life.
Well, the one that can be expensive and put calories on me is Starbucks. I have to be really careful about that. That can talk myself into Starbucks in a hot, stinking second. And a nice cinnamony, creamy latte, starts to add up money and calorie wise. But if I'm out and about in the universe, I can pull in a Starbucks and it'll settle it. But the hot tea, there's just something about hot tea. You and I've talked about that
Yeah.
forever. And everybody's different when they finally take the hot tea bug. Whether it's caffeinated, decaffeinated, fruity, black,
It's
green,
funny, Kathy. I
honey,
was drinking mine
sugar
this
honey.
morning, and I was like, "Wow, this honey is going to help my throat because my
Yeah.
throat's a little full." I'm like, "Wow!" Not only am I getting the mental thing of self care with the process of making it, but I'm actually going to this time and maybe for a few days get a little bit of physical relief from the honey
I
in the.
should I should bring you this one mix that Colin Perry, my massage therapist, gave me, and I think it has, Eye of Newt and Wing of Bat in it. I don't even know what crazy stuff she has in there, but she said this is good for like congestion. But I use it for evening a lot because it's
Yeah,
decaffeinated and caffeine really doesn't bother me, doesn't keep me awake, but I know it keeps a lot of people awake. But Anyway, I should bring you some of that because she says it'll kick it right out of you.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in it, but, yeah, you get the benefits of honey. And, I think too with self-care, I go in and out of things. There's the regular stuff. I know every time hot tea is gonna help me. I know that I'll tell you, I doom scroll. I'm not saying that's a healthy self-care thing, but it is a distractor, and I think
But what specifically are you doing? Like, if you're doom scrolling the
yeah,
monks walking across the country, or you're doom scrolling military dads coming home to surprise their kids, there's nothing wrong with
right.
that kind of. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and
You
I
say
also
doom scroll, doom scroll.
no, I'm trying not to doom scroll bad things.
Yeah,
I'm watching, some DIY projects or what the Stranger Things characters are doing now,
yeah.
or, how do you retrofit a camper? It's such nonsense
Well, I was
distract
gonna say that's another one of your things is camping. That's one of your another one of your big self care things is
yeah,
going
that's
camping.
and
You kind of you kind of really double dip. You might even triple dip with that because a
yeah,
it's a family thing. You're getting out of nature.
nature.
You're getting away from the house, so you get
Yes, bringing
well,
the
you're
beach.
taking your mobile home with you
And
you
bringing in food and hot tea and all those things. I mean, food's a big I don't know. I might be old fashioned, but in my family dynamics, food was something that brought people together. The grandmothers, you get at a table and you
yeah,
all come here and we eat food. We eat good homemade food. So I've never really lost that. I like to cook. It's a creative outlet for me. It's a self-care thing. If I'm making sourdough, I know a lot of people like making sourdough these days. You feed the sourdough, it becomes like this pet. Um, and so food brings people together. It helps your body, I believe, if you're making whole foods, as we all hear in the news now. And, it's a connector. So, but yeah, camping is a big thing. And, when we get to this time of year, I can feel my insides about to burst because I've had enough. I love my home. I love, watching good shows and I don't dislike my home, but there's part of me that's just I know I gotta get out. I gotta get to nature. I know nature is something that's important to me. The beach, the smell of the salty air.
yeah,
And we can get there in an hour and 15,
yeah.
where we live. So I enjoy that. And I need green. I need that color green. That's probably why I think I like St. Patrick's Day because it means spring's coming green. I like to see that green. But camping is a big thing, and my kids, the older they get, the more they like it, and that makes my soul a little happy, but it just gets us all away from work and life and stress, and you can laugh, and you can make food together, you can eat together, listen to music together, play games together, all the things.
I was gonna say you were talking about food. It's almost kind of like a prerequisite. You have to like if you're camping, cook out on the grill.
Mhm.
I know you guys
Have
get
to.
fresh fish, do that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, whether it's a steak or whatever it is. Yeah, there's just something about
I mean, that's like almost a ritual.
yeah. It's like a mobile cookout. You're not cooking out in your backyard, but you've driven to the outskirts of Ocean City to to cook out. Yeah,
And you have the comforts of your home, and there's still a TV, so we can put. I mean, my kids have found Peacock where you can have three different things of the Olympics on one show
yep.
or on one screen. We're screen people, but yeah, you just have to really know what your soul needs, what feels good for yourself, and you got to really explore that. It's not selfish because life's gonna throw lemons at you, tomatoes at you, potatoes. I don't know. You're gonna get a lot chunked at you,
Yeah.
and what are you gonna do about it?
Your self care things are enabling you to be a better version of yourself to do all the right other stuff to get through it doesn't solve anything, it doesn't fix anything, but it just
Move you
prepares you a
along,
little bit better for all the other stuff.
and don't you think distraction is helpful? I mean, because I don't know about you, but I can get myself keyed up. I could get up here in a minute.
Kathy, let's be real. That's why we watch movies and stream because
It brings you
it
down.
takes us somewhere else. It's escapism. Whether it's for an hour or whether we binge and we're 3 or 4 hours and we're watching whatever. It's
Oh,
we're not thinking about
no.
the stressful day at work or all the
Listen,
other
I
stuff
gotta
that's
tell
going
you
on.
this. I thought about you so much yesterday, and I talked to you about it before the podcast. I went to an event last night, which was a mental health event, but they had a speaker in that was talking about the history of our country. And you know how depressing it seems like the news is and politics these days, but she was talking about politics in a way that was hopeful that, all of our past leaders, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know that things are going to turn out okay. Things are going to eventually turn out okay and how to have hope. But she was talking about some of the coping mechanisms and self care activities of our leaders from the past, our ancient presidents, right? And you know what kept coming through is storytelling, which made me think about you, that there was a lot of presidents that enjoyed reading and the escapism of stories that they would read about, And I thought, well, if that isn't that's so true today, whether it's a movie or you're reading a book or
Yep.
you listening to a podcast or something, hearing a story, even if you yourself can't be on that beach or you can't be in that other country. Stories can lift your mood and take you back to this place. And this woman that was giving the talk, and I said her name earlier. Wait, let me tell you, because somebody could look her up and look up her books.
She knows LBJ. Yeah.
Freaking amazing. Doris Kearns Goodwin. Kearns spelled Kearns. And she's an author. She's wrote so many books about our past leaders, and she's 83, and I could not believe how cognitively clear that woman was and how beautiful she was. She had really cool shoes, the whole thing. I really like to interview that woman. But anyway, she was saying that her mother was very ill, and I can't remember what she had, but I guess her mom couldn't walk, and she lost her mother. I guess her mother was in her 40s maybe, and she was 15. So she only had her mom for 15 years. But she would ask her mom to tell her stories of when her mother was mobile and her mother had such happy times and could go here or there, because she said she really believed in her mind, if she got her mom to think about those happy times in her life, then her mom will walk again. And obviously that wouldn't be possible, but it was certainly a connection. The storytelling brought the past in, brought them together for happier times. So that storytelling, I think, is you really promote it so much with guests that you have in or telling your own story. But that whole storytelling is a big, I think, of self-care.
Well, for me, Kathy, it's always been about, like, whether I'm watching movies or streaming, the stories that I can relate to, that I connect to a
Connect.
character. Um, that just and look, there's value in just watching whatever's on the screen just to be distracted. There's value in just that. That's fine.
Mhm.
But it's like a next level thing when, whether it's um, that show Ripple that I had
Yeah.
you watch, where you're just you're feeling for the characters, or whether it's some of the guests we've had on the podcast that just they make the other people on the other end that are listening not feel alone, and people are relating and
Mhm.
connecting. Um,
It helps with your
there's
empathy and compassion skills, but you also have to protect
perspective,
that in yourself because
yeah,
you don't want to be fatigued because you are hurting for so many people. So, and then how do you fix that? Self-care.
yeah.
So you're not so it's good to be there for somebody else. It's good to say what's your story. It's good to listen to somebody's story. It's good to feel compassion and empathy, but you do have to protect yourself.
So
You
what
know
else?
what?
Are there any other go tos that you do regularly or somewhat regularly?
One thing I don't do regularly, but I do periodically, is just the whole writing thing. And that was something that this author was saying last night. She said there were presidents that would write, they called I forget which president, which doesn't matter. It called it a hot letter when they really were upset or worried about something. They'd write it, right? Get it written out and then rip it up, throw it out, whatever. Never give it to anybody, but got that information out. So that was a coping mechanism for presidents. So for me, I do like getting things out, but I'll go in phases of doing that. So when I've had enough, Then maybe I get the iPad out and I do the brain dump at night where you're just, and she said one of the presidents did that. One of the presidents did it in the morning. They take a piece of paper and write everything that came to their mind to get it out so that they could be more creative and, um, have a better
Yeah,
day.
made
And I said,
space. Yeah.
if I was that president, I would do it before I went to bed so I could dump it and start out fresh. But anyway, so I do like to do that writing, but I don't do it all the time. I feel like I know when I need to do it, and I know when I need to lay off of it. Or when I can safely lay off of it because
Yeah.
it's time consuming. What I have done recently is get back into my Headspace app. So I have a subscription to Headspace. I like it. Um, I use it for breathing. It because it has fun little breathing things. The box breathing. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out,
Yep.
hold, and it'll have fun things. Like one day it'll be a cat, and you see the cat's belly going in and out. Another day it's a cartoon of ocean water going in and out. Another day it's a balloon blowing up. I like starting my day out with doing that breathing. And then I have two stretches. One is very easy and I could do it literally in bed. And then the other one, if I have time, that next one is a 7-minute stretch. But I do that, you know, out of the bed, not in the bed. And I feel better when I do those stretches, but I'll go into phases too where I'm not using Headspace. And then Headspace also has this newer component that I've been using. It's AI, and I know people have feelings about AI, but this thing will say, how is it going today? And I might say, whatever. Yeah, yesterday I had a bad day,